Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. Inside of today's video, I'm going to give you guys the best 15 brawlers to max out for ranked right now. So this is going to be basically a roster of brawlers that's going to help you across multiple game modes. It's going to help you as a picking the best brawler as the first pick, last pick, etc. So I'll go through my reasoning with all of them. Let's just dive into it. So first off, we have Mortis. So Mortis, I will just throw a quick disclaimer out there. You don't want to be playing Mortis if you have high ping. If you don't know what ping is, go check it out on Google, whatever. See how high your ping is. Anything over, I would say 40 ping, you're not going to have the best Mortis experience. Well, you'll be able to just tell yourself. But Mortis, anyways, is really good on low ping, but he's one of the best last pick options inside the meta. There's hardly anything that really truly shuts him down, and that's thanks to his gadget that you're able just to throw out and deal some insane damage. You can play Mortis literally everywhere. Knockout, you even see in Mortis right now. Gem Grab, who's one of the best brawlers. Again, one of the most lethal last pick brawlers. So Mortis, you must max out. The next brawler you must absolutely max out for this ranked season has to be Kit. So Kit is a super underrated pick, and that's why I'm highlighting it here in this video. So with Kit is really good in the bounty and knockout meta right now. People are just sleeping on Kit like crazy. Like, I would easily consider Kit an A-tier brawler, just literally because of these two game modes in particular. You pair Kit with any type of aggressive brawler, and Kit can really just go to town, because there really isn't that many big counters to a Kit cheese composition, especially since Kit's slight rework, making it even better for Kit to be a support brawler on top of an aggro brawler. And then Kit is also pretty underrated in a few other maps as well, mainly Gem Grab. Kit can actually be pretty good as well, but trust me, don't sleep on the Kit. Next brawler must absolutely max out has to be Otus. So Otus, since he received that damage buff, it seems like 6 months ago now, he is just stayed at the top of the meta, whether it be high A tier, whether it be low S tier, just depending on who is meta in and around him. He'll always be a staple of the meta. I don't see him falling off for a very long time. Main reason being is because not a lot of brawlers in and around him are receiving like big damage buffs as well. The only way that Otus will drop off if he actually receives enough, which again, I don't think is a big problem in the meta right now. We need tank counters. We need brawlers like Otus to thrive, to stop all of these assassins. So again, I don't see him getting nerfed, so you can be safe in putting your resources into Otus. But yeah, you can play Otus pretty much everywhere. Gem Grab, Brawl, Hot Zone, High Citizen Defender, 4 game modes where he's literally one of the best picks in. The next brawler must max out for ranked has to be Griff. So Griff is a lot better in ranked than just in random like ladder gameplay or whatever, and Griff's normally better in competitive as well because you need a bit more team synergy. But Griff is very good in ranked, you just can't deny it, and it's all to do with his his piggy bank gadget. It's just insane. You need a buffy on that because you can open up so much of the map. You can throw it, shoot it, you open up the entire map. Also, his hyper charge is pretty effective as well. But like I said, make sure you're pairing Griff with something that is good once the map's opened up. Brawler must max out for ranked has to be Meeple. So again, another really underrated brawler where you can pick in so many instances. So with Meeple, you want to be playing Meeple mainly against like the tank counters and other brawlers like that. But at the same time, Meeple is just really flexible in ranked because you can switch between both gadgets. You can never go wrong with Meeple even in Brawl. You've got Rage Quit and you've got the box gadget to break open the grass. You've got Knockout and Bounty as well. Meeple can still be pretty good. You don't want to double down on like 2 control brawlers in the same composition. Make sure that you still got some decent damage alongside you. But yeah, Meeple's just super versatile. I don't think Meeple's really been in like anywhere below the A tier in the meta for a very long time since his hyper charge got released. So yeah, Meeple very good in ranked. Next brawler must max out for ranked has to be Edgar. So the common mistake that people are making is drafting Edgar too early on. He is a last pick brawler inside of the meta or very late pick inside of the meta because there's still obvious counters to Edgar, but that's what makes him not balanced, but at least like, okay, well, you can go Otus, you can go a few other brawlers like that can shut down an Edgar. But if you don't in your composition think about Edgar and draft, then you know, Edgar as a last pick is just completely free. You can play Edgar everywhere. You can play Edgar as a last pick inside of Knockout, Bounty. You can play Edgar, again, all of these game modes, you can play Edgar as a last pick. And even if you just want something aggressive, you know, for example, if an enemy team has picked a Ruffs or something low damage, you can just pick an Edgar anyway and just go for that matchup all of the time. So yeah, Edgar is a menace right now, and it's all because of all the buffies. It's the next brawler must absolutely max out for ranked, and people are sleeping on the power of Colette as well. So the reason why Colette is so good is because of the gadget rework. Nana is such a broken gadget because just with a click of a button, you can just stop the opponents from attacking. You can waste their super. You can just waste their time. You can then just retaliate and throw out your super and kill them. Both supers, both star powers with Colette are really strong as well. The buffy is definitely needed on both of them. And yeah, it's clear you can pretty much play everywhere. You can play as a mid even in gem grab right now because of the amount of assassins. In Brawl Ball, yeah, there's just aggro everywhere, so Colette's really good. Hot Zone, Heist, you name it, you can play Colette. Next brawler you must max out for ranked has to be Sirius. So up until probably about Masters, you don't actually see Sirius get banned all that often, I don't believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but just from playing my mini account, I feel like I get a lot of free Sirius games, and Sirius is still a very unserious brawler. He hardly has any bad matchups. Even if you open up the map fully, you can still play as Sirius. Even if the enemy picks another thrower, well, Sirius is still good because all other throwers are vulnerable to aggro or assassins. So for that reason, you guys know how broken Sirius is anyway. But inside of like the draft meta, the rank meta, he's hardly getting counted. Naja is next on the list, and do I even need to explain about Naja? Naja is absolutely insane. So I will say that you can't just always first pick Naja into pretty much everything right now inside of the meta, because there is Edgar, there is Mortis that can get countered against. But if the map has no grass and it's a little bit more open, then Naja is just absolute first pick and just absolutely the best pick inside of the game. So do bear that in mind. But yeah, it's Naja. Do I even need to explain? Broken hypercharge, really annoying gadget, really consistent damage. It's Naja, so just abuse her before she gets nerfed. Jean is next on my list, and I always recommend to max out Jean no matter what, because he's a brawler that again always escapes the bans, and not a lot of people feel comfortable playing Jean. But if you're a good enough Jean, you're going to dominate in game modes like knockout and bounties. So I will say you can't really play Jean outside of that just because the meta doesn't really favor him. But Jean, I think since years and years now that he has been at A tier minimum. I think even when he was released, I don't really remember time. There probably was a brief period, but I reckon at least for 5 years that Jean has been at least A tier or S tier inside the meta. That's how strong and how good of a brawler he is to max out. So just max him out, play him a knockout and bounty. There's hardly any counters. This is next up on the list, so this is just very obvious, right? Everybody knows how strong Pierce is, and I think even my randoms really understand that, because he doesn't really get banned out because there's more toxic brawlers to think about, but he's always just getting played no matter what. The good thing about Pierce is that there's hardly any bad matchups for him. There are a few brawlers that can eat up his ammo, like Charlie Pets, or like Nani can counter Pierce, for example, but again, it's just never really a bad moment to not go Pierce. He's got really strong hypercharge, he deals insane damage. It's all just dependent on whether you can hit shots or not. If you start landing your shots, you can just completely take over the game. So it's Pierce, everyone knows he's strong, just max him out. The next brawler you must look to max out this season has to be Lumi. So Lumi is by far the most underrated brawler on this list. After looking at my tier list comments, it was quite clear that people were a little bit undecided about Lumi, but I think in the pro meta right now, she's easily like minimum A tier inside of meta. But I think me, you know, even Bobby has put Lumi in the S tier as well. I think we're in agreement that Lumi is very strong in the meta. The reason why she's so good is because you slap on the shield gear on top of her. She has above 7k health. You've got a really broken gadget with the ice gadget. You've got just so much damage. The projectile speed buff just means she can just destroy anybody once she gets in range. The only problem is sometimes you can't get in within range, but that's where you use your gadget effectively. You know, juke up, try and close the gap through, you know, getting close to walls, etc. And then again, once Lumi gets into position, she will shred everything. Next brawler must look to max out inside of this meta, inside of ranked, has to be Charlie. So Charlie, again, is an ultra consistent brawler. We already saw Charlie just in turn just get better as the metas develop, especially in the previous one, because she was one of the only good shutdowns to brawlers like Bull, for example. But still, Charlie's just a really consistent brawler. She's got the range to compete with, you know, other range brawlers. It's like the thing that's puts her aside from other tank counters, because normally other tank counters can sometimes get ranged by controllers, but you know, Charlie can counter tanks, but then she can also counter controllers or snipers for the Spider's gadget. So this is just where she has a rare use case, and which makes Charlie just a brawler that you can always rely on. So you can play Charlie pretty much anywhere. The next brawler you must max out for ranked has to be Penny. So Penny is again a little bit more of a niche one, because most of the time you got to make sure that the bans and the map is favoring her, the matchup is favoring her, but there's been so many times inside of ranked where it's just such a free Penny game, because the meta is still kind of crazy, but there are just more opportunities to go Penny last pick, in my opinion, or just Penny towards the end of draft. So you've got like Penny to counter Charlie, you've got Penny just to counter if the enemy team doesn't really have any aggression. You can pick a Penny last pick, especially in Hot Zone, in Heist. There's been multiple times where people will go like Griff or Colt or Ruffs or something to open up the map, and then Penny can still just be a good option into that. And sometimes it might not make sense on the right map, but you get what I mean. Like, Penny's just the ultimate pick into controller brawlers, and I'm just finding it, I don't know, she's just getting better and better as the metas go on. And lastly, for the best brawlers to max out, I've gone with Leon. So Leon was the brawler that was maxed out last season, I believe. So that's why I didn't probably recommend him to get maxed out before. Anyways, Leon's still really strong inside of a meta. Even with his 600 health nerf and a few bug fixes, he's still really got one bug, which helps him be invisible still outside of his lollipop drop gadget radius. He's still really annoying to deal with, just literally because you can throw the lollipop drop, get instant pressure. It still gives you the speed boost. It still helps you collect blue star, really fast. He's still got really good buffies. And it's the fact that Leon, there's hardly really any big shutdowns to him. The only brawler you've got to consider is like a Crow, and even them, just because of the amount of damage you can deal with the smoke trail star power, it's just making him a big threat inside of the meta. So that's going to be it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed this one. Let me know what type of meta videos you want me to do for next week. I've got a few things cooking, like the rank guide. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.